He's telling me, please. Let's now.
Kila kitu unakodisha.
All right, other people of the internet, my name is Uduwe, and this is Political Headache. I'm in the studio with big wigs. Tonight we are asking a hard question. What will exactly happen at the ODM's NDC? Why is Orengo talking about NDC? For and by the people. Okay, then Babu Owino posted what seemed like a newspaper cutting today, Mr. Mundalo. It seemed that it was coming from the Nation. I don't know what that is about. So, these are the facts, Mr. Mundalo, and TikTok lawyer.
Well, cut up.
Are we already live?
No.
You're lucky.
Can I tell you the person that acting? So these are the facts, people on the internet. ODM has announced an official National Delegates Conference at Jamhuri Grounds.
I have a degree.
The party leadership says this is the only legitimate NDC. Acting SG spoke with little confidence. Obunga, what are you doing? All right. Governor Gladys Wanga was like, Orengo, Sifuna, Babu, don't try us. That is what she said. And we're going to play that video. For the first time, Junet has called Rigathi's DCP Chama Cha Village. Did you hear that?
A test tube party.
Test tube party. On the other hand, a rival associated with James Orengo, Babu Owino, and the Linda Mwananchi line is rejecting the process and promising a parallel NDC. That changes everything. People of the internet, I want to ask today what is going on. And then there is the question of Winnie Odinga. So today I had a lengthy conversation with an insider at ODM. And I was taken aback when I was told Winnie and the issue of her as deputy leader is not on ODM party agenda at the NDC. That is not there. I wonder why she says that. Today I'm in the studio with Mundalo. Mundalo, I want to read who you are. Mundalo is a Kenyan political strategist, communication consultant, known for political commentary. He advises politicians on how to build strong narratives and how to connect with voters. Some people call him government apologist. I don't know whether he is. I am with the SG of Safina Party, a resident commentator at Political Headache. Welcome, Sana.
Thank you.
And then we have the TikTok lawyer. Do you know where I had? Somebody at the Ministry of Health actually called me and told me, Jagero, you need to stop bringing that TikTok lawyer to your.
Same thing. Itumbi also called me and told me, why are you reading lies on social media?
Oh, is that
based
so?
on that post that we did for Shah? And I asked him one question. Can you account for it?
Yes.
That is the only thing we're asking you.
Yeah.
Never did.
You never did.
So if it's a lie, then he should come and read the truth. Because there can never be a lie if there is no truth. Yeah.
I want to start with the government apologist, Mr. Mundalo. Mundalo, how are you doing? What is the political temperature like?
Very high. I'll choose today not to argue with your government apologist tag that you have chosen to give me on this show.
Yeah.
But I think the temperature is quite high. I think if you are measuring it, it's somewhere near boiling point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's been very active. I think it's been a very active week. You've seen the president on a development tour, of course, with bits and pieces of politics here and there. You've seen Rigathi having meetings here and there. You've seen the uproar in ODM.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to be up to something. So it's a very politically active week.
Yeah. There was a lot of there is a lot of squabbling. I heard you were having a phone call today, and I could hear the other person on the other side. I couldn't tell, but it was he was very happy that the president had decided that kama moto ni iwaki. What do you think about that? What is it politically that Ruto and Gachagua? In fact, Matiang'i was never spoken of by name. Yeah. But he appears to know that he's the only fat politician in the country that anybody can appear. Did you know that he was never...
He was never?
He was never mentioned by name, but
no one was mentioned by name.
Nobody was mentioned by name.
No.
Even Eugene Wamalwa was not mentioned by name.
Okay.
But I think we all know the histories of these particular politicians.
Yeah.
So when you talk about someone who deprived the siblings of the brotherland, we know who it is.
Okay.
When you talk about who's the fattest in the other camp, we know who it is. When you talk about someone who has been alleged to kill the baby mama, we know who it is.
Okay, this guy was going on. I want to finish that part of the statement. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I think as a statement, and even just as a Kenyan, it is one of the lowest we can actually sink as a country in terms of our debate on leadership and governance. But again, on the same issue, I also argue that Matiang'i was not mentioned by name. The others were described in a manner that makes it closer for us to associate. Because when you look at Eugene Wamalwa, it was said kuna yule wa hapa Kitale.
Okay.
And then when you look at Wamunyoro, it was said that kuna yule aliwa wale watoto pale Nyeri. Okay? But when it came to the aspect of fatness and air pollution, there was no description. But I think the owner owned it up too quickly, and the puzzle got unraveled too fast by himself. Because I don't think, I thought it would be something that would start arguing about who it is, but he came out himself very fast. The only thing that I look at is, you see, again, the nature of our politics is very segmented. Because we have kept having this type of politics for the last over 2 years.
Yeah.
Where every other day we have people who are rising up, Rigathi Gachagua and the team, insulting the president, demeaning the office of the president, and not just them, it went all the way even to the common Mwananchi. And all this time, nobody was actually feeling like it's a very major thing to do. I think as a person and as a politician, sometimes we have to remember that the president is a politician first. Before we even talk about head of state and saying about everything else, we have to remember that the president is a politician. And he is the only politician that we have in Kenya who, from the day he entered politics to today, he has never lost elections. So he understands political language. And so for a moment, he chose to become the politician that he is and come very low so that we can debate this thing at a political front, political confrontation, where, you know, in political science, we say that the best strategy in politics is the obvious strategy. Okay. And so that would ultimately be the obvious strategy, that if they can, they must hit at this, then we must also hit at them, so that then we create an equilibrium. But my problem now is with the outcry, Jagero. I saw civil society with my friend Mukwanja now coming up, and now they now know what the country should look like. I saw the church coming out. I've seen so many people coming out to say, no, this should not be the direction. But my question is, this has been the modus operandi of the country for the last 2 years. We must not be, if we want to be honest as a country, we can't choose what is black and what is green depending on the convenience. We must call things to order when they are right and when they are wrong for what they are. Because the problem is, we can't wait until, when someone is calling the president all those names, when these people are talking to the president the way they are talking to him, no one is saying that's unpresidential. Even us on this show, many of times, we have argued with the Joachim here, but we have modesty, even when we are coming to addressing leaders. We talk about the president in a certain manner. But when people degenerate and you want to address the president in any manner, you want to talk about him like he's just any other riffraff, you don't expect that now he is the only one who should handle everyone, a view presidentially. It is our sole responsibility, all of us as a country, to respect offices and office holders. It is just the bare minimum that we can do. Even if we disagree with people, even if we disagree with the leaders, I have a lot of disagreement with many leaders, but don't come on the show and call them names, so that we stick to the issues around the conversation. Let us stick to the issues. But the civil society people and all those and the church and everyone else, it is very great double standard.
Why so is the sudden burst of energy and anger from the president? Why do you think? Because is it a case of I have been silent for too long?
I think so. I think part of it is actually the case of, hey, guys, I have been silent for the last 2 years or so, or even more. You guys keep going at it, and every other time it has come to a point where now it's not about the body of the president. It's now about body shaming at the president. I think he was trying to say,
and I don't
guys,
think there is anything wrong with that.
I am here, and I think this is wrong, but we will first of all retaliate and get the country back to order. I really, really do not think it is the right way the country should go.
Yeah.
But I do not excuse the fact that the president was also having a reaction. Remember, I've told you, the president also is a human being. There are things you say about people, they will feel it.
Yeah.
You see the way my brother has run away from the title of TikTok lawyer very fast, because he's a human being. And as a human being, he has to react to some kind of...
You know, I don't think TikTok...
I want to measure the temperature of the country today. You say something interesting that you don't think that there is something
wrong
with calling body shaming the president. Why do you think so?
You know, first of all, it is misadvised, as Mundalo is putting it, to put the demeanor and the obligations of a president in the same height as people who are in the opposition.
Okay.
You cannot say that now people in the opposition are talking about the president's nose. The president should also come back and talk about other people's noses and stomachs. There is a certain different responsibility and demeanor that we hold these two different leaders.
And can you explain a little bit on that?
It is not even an issue of the responsibility of law, but it is also just an issue of, you know, according to how we are psychologically supposed to act or behave in front of your citizens. Because we understand what the presidency means. The presidency is not just like any other seat. It is not an MP seat. It is a seat of national unity and a representation of the entire country. So when you have the president going on to a rally and he's talking about how other people have been involved with women, how they have managed to kill people, or maybe talk about certain demeaning things such as the weight of another individual, that is totally unpresidential. And yes, Mundalo.
I just wanted to know whereas I wanted to just understand so that I don't interfere with this trail of thought. My concern would just be that as we hold the office of the president at a very high level, that my friend puts it, which I totally agree, is it just about what he says that is at high level, or how we also treat him? Because it cannot just be about when he says something, then he is at high level. But how do we treat him? Do we treat him and that office at the high level that we expect? Because I think it's two way.
You know, Jagero, you know,
so it can be one side.
Yes. So the president of the country is the president of the country.
Yeah.
He is the father of the nation.
A representation of the nation.
But Gachagua has been the father of the mountain. If you want
you know that is more political.
And if anything, all those people are seeking to be president.
We cannot degenerate to that level.
Okay, let's give it to the gentleman who has not been speaking.
We cannot do that.
I think it would be prudent for him to finish.
Why can't you let you are a member of Safina party?
I'm not a member of Safina party. I'm only contracted by Safina for legal issues.
Oh, great! Amazing.
But
just a minute. You are the lawyer speaking.
You know, okay.
At least they have
I want to give Joachim a chance to speak, but also shortly. Mundalo talks so much about respect. But why is it that the respect has dwindled so much for the state office and the president itself? It is because the presidency has failed to gain respect from the people itself. That is the reason why people are talking about the president in this kind of manner.
So how? Because you see, Jagero, it is one thing to speak English. It's another thing to make sense. What I consider is that you're just speaking English. Because when you say, the wakili here, because when you say the presidency has just failed to get respect, it makes some sense, but then it would make better sense if you're able to make it tangible and say in this area and this area and this area.
No.
Because the issue is this, and it's not a question of
But it's
anyone trying to say that one is better than the other. But my argument is that if the office of the president has to be respected and it's a high office that we all agree on, then it's not just about what the president says. It is also about how we treat the office of the president.
You see,
we have a modus
the office
operandi.
of the president is not a gift to us.
We have a modus
Can we allow him to now speak?
You see, people are speaking as if we have to go to the office of the president as an altar of reverence. That's not the case here, because respect is not a pizza that you order and demand it to be delivered. Respect is earned out of actions, how you conduct yourself.
Absolutely.
If you work in an office and you realize that the cleaners do not respect you, then you have to check how you use the toilets, because they are the cleaners. They know how you use it. If they are struggling to respect you, it's out of your conduct. If the president is struggling to get respect from the people, then it's all about him and not any other person.
And you know the problem on respect, Mundalo wants to play blind, that the president has not lost respect from the people due to certain and specific reasons.
But
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
He wants me to come out and say he wants me to come out and say that the president killed 300 Gen Zs. He wants me to come out and say the president has been involved in one of the biggest blunders that we've ever seen by a president. He wants me to come out and say that the president is grabbing the huge tract of lands that we've been having through this selling of state corporations through the agenda of privatization. He wants me to talk about those specific things.
I want you to do that.
So that we can say that, okay, now he has lost respect.
So can I interject now, Jagero?
Before
when
you
say
come
the
in
president,
and
because you
defend
see,
the president.
just a minute.
it's not a question, and I've always argued that it's not a question of defense and us versus them. It's a question of let's be practical and real. When you come out and say the president killed people, is that a fair statement? It's politically correct. He is a lawyer. He is at the best place to tell us that can that even prove can you actually say the president was on the street, the president killed anybody? He is talking about a constitution that we ourselves gave us, and as a lawyer I suspect that he should be aware, though I also understand that he's a student lawyer. So some of these things might be units he has not gotten.
No, I'm also
the fact is that
I'm also an activist, so I can't be an apologist.
I didn't interject him.
Yes.
I didn't interject him. The fact is that we gave ourselves a constitution. And when we have a problem with certain elements of life as Kenyans, we must ask ourselves, how do we solve them using our constitution? Our constitution says that we have an independent office of the Inspector General. So the people who are in charge of the police is the Inspector General. So in the event that something has happened around that, then we must point in the right direction. But coming on a show and saying that the president killed anybody, for me, it is populist. It can win you some likes on TikTok, but it's not a fact. When you say that the president has grabbed land, I think that's what you've said. The question is which land, which number, so that we know. So that me and you, Jagero, and him as a lawyer, can wake up tomorrow and go and make a report to the DCI and say that this land has been stolen. But you see, Jagero, I've always argued that opposing things makes you look intelligent, but it does not necessarily make you intelligent. We cannot move the country forward through activism and populism. What the two of my brothers know way to do in finishing is that, because the things he is talking about, that he's saying the president has respect for this and this. Remember, since our independence up to today, most of the things that he talks about, all presidents have been accused of. But did we degenerate to now disrespect the offices of the president? It is about fact, but when you want to base your argument on things that make you popular, which I'm not very good at, then you sound like that.
Okay.
But can he actually prove? I give him the opportunity to table evidence of the things that he has to do.
This is not a court of law, so stop talking about
I think he's not going to
tabling.
do that. And also the problem that I'm having with his train of thought is that I think we are not talking about the people of Kenya actually showing disrespect to the president.
Exactly.
Because we have not seen Oduor Jagero going in a podium where 30,000 people are gathered and disrespect the president. It's very clear the people that we are talking about. We are talking about Wamunyoro, who was always every other day
Every
come
other
out
day. And that's the truth.
talked against the
No,
president.
let us not.
No, Jagero.
I think.
But what? Let me get this
Jagero.
one. Jagero.
We cannot sit here and pretend that the president is now a victim. And every other person is very wrong, and the president is this child that we should hold so carefully, and because it will break its limbs. No.
And Jagero, who is Gachagua?
Can we
Gachagua
finish?
is a normal
Let
citizen
him
like us.
finish.
He
Let
does
him
not
fin-
occupy any office, just like you said.
Let him finish. You see, I gave you the opportunity to give us the political temperature of the country. You have done that. Mundalo has done that.
I've
I
not
am
done
so
that. I
sorry
was
that I brought
interrupted.
out this passionate topic.
No.
I should have gone straight to what I'm supposed to be discussing today. But it is my
We
problem. I
cannot
take
do that.
responsibility. So I am going to you, as you talk about this passionate thing, please
shall
give me
not
the
accept.
temperature of the day. What do you think about what happened today, what has been happening over the week?
You see.
You can start with the
No.
president
Don't.
at the time.
I know how to speak. I've been doing it for some time now. You see, so you people want us to sit here and talk about these issues as if the president is a gift to humankind and we should treat it like that. No. There is a code of conduct, expectations, that when you are president, there is a level you are supposed to behave. You as a father and a parent, kuna ile mambo huwezi fanya. Hata ukuwe na reason ya kufanya, because the stature of you being a father does not allow you to do that. I'm not saying those people who body shamed the president did the right thing. But
Absolutely.
does two wrongs make a right? The people of Kenya do not care about what Gachagua says. That you must know. Because Gachagua is a nobody in the leadership of the country. But when the president starts talking about issues that do not concern the Kenyan people and makes it become a contest of two rivals, when he's speaking in Bungoma, he's speaking in Vihiga, I can tell you the whole tour in Western was not about them. He was looking for a place that he can get the right to reply to the people who talked about him in a way that he doesn't like it. And we have seen politicians who have been insulted in this country, but they have had the grace to deal with it. If you do not like how people talk about you, leave politics. Because once you subject yourself into public limelight, be ready for anything.
We insulted Uhuru up until he deleted his Twitter
There is no
account.
president who has had a smooth ride in office. When Mundalo asks about these other presidents have done it and therefore we should also keep quiet and let William Ruto loot like other presidents have looted, it's misadvised.
I didn't
because
say that.
No, that's what
is
you
out of
meant.
context. No, I did not say that.
That's what you
You
meant.
see,
Just a minute.
No, but that is quote.
Let me finish my train of thought.
I did not.
Yes, because he has said it. That these things that we are accusing the president of,
that is a lie.
other presidents did it. And so many people from the broad-based mongrel are talking about it like that. Where were you when Uhuru was stealing? Where were you when Kibaki was stealing when I was in the primary? There was no political headache at that time. There was no dialogues with Jagero. I couldn't even understand how presidency should work. That's why I'm talking about Ruto now. Uhuru Kenyatta had a very rough time in office. Actually, his election was nullified. So don't come to us and tell us that we are being rough on Ruto and other presidents have been tumekuwa tukiwa treat like they are a gift.
Absolutely.
It is wrong.
Very
We
wrong.
did not elect the president to be a gym trainer. We did not elect him to be a dietetics expert or a nutritionist. We elected the president to deal with the resources and governance of the country. Appointing himself to be a prefect of the agenda of the opposition, it is not his duty. So hii maneno tunaongelea hapa, in finishing, I am very angry because we are talking about non-issues.
Okay.
In fact, I'm very angry how we have started the podcast with
And
that
again,
particular matter.
with that particular matter.
Exactly. And when you state certain things, you want to shift the entire attention to victimizing Ruto himself.
Okay.
While we know quite well this is the situation that we're having in the country.
In finishing,
we cannot
to
turn a
what
blind
the
eye.
lawyer said, the lawyer said
Okay.
that the president has killed. In my own understanding of that statement, we did not see William Ruto with a gun on the road shooting
Absolutely.
people. But he is the president. The duty of a government is to protect human life. The question we are asking is, why are young people disappearing and you are the president? Remember how the guy campaigned about extrajudicial killings, that it will be a thing of the past once he is sworn in as president. We are holding him accountable on his own word. So let not these apologists come here and try to make us think that, you see, you are disrespecting the president. We have no constitutional or lawful obligation to respect the president. Yes.
In fact, Jagero, I've always said this even in our town halls.
Okay, but you would like this guy to go into...
He's talking after me.
Okay.
I keep saying it. I keep saying it that we as the citizens of Kenya do not have the obligation to love you just because you're supposed to be doing something that is your constitutional obligation. We do not have the obligation to beg you for us to do something. But we have the civic duty to fully criticize you in case you do not do it. If you come here today as President Ruto and you say that I want to build a road, that's okay. That is the specific purpose under the Constitution you are supposed to do. We are not supposed to be ululating and celebrating that. Now, thank you for development. Thank you for the road. You are now working. Absolutely not. But in any case, one day,
that
you fail to build just one single road that leads up to my village market, I am supposed to talk about it for the rest of the time.
Okay.
Up until the election.
I want to.
That is the real situation.
I'm so sorry, gentlemen, but I brought. This is.
They want to boil.
I don't know, but I didn't know that it's such an emotive issue. I didn't know.
Like.
I'm so sorry, lawyer. I'm so sorry, SG. But let's wrap this up by allowing this gentleman to finish this conversation. Then we go to Babu Owino, because there is something that he posted online, and I want you to put it up on the screen so that people can have a look at it, because we are going to be talking about it, what the panel thinks about what we put up. We are going to read some of the comments that people have, and then we will go to other issues. Go ahead, Mr. Mundalo.
Thank you, Jagero. I think it's quite a heated conversation. Like you, I didn't imagine but I think I could foresee the height of emotion, because most of our argument is always based on emotion, not logic, not fact. And that's why I've always told you, Jagero, that emotions do not move the country.
Yeah.
So just because your height of emotion is high does not necessarily mean your height of sense is also high.
No. The president insulted because of emotions.
Can you let him
The
finish?
president made insults because of emotions. He was visibly angry and emotionally disoriented. So let us not behave like we are very mature people.
But can you
Mundalo will not be
you know the problem Mundalo is
sending veiled insults at us.
Mundalo is also painting a
Mundalo,
picture.
are you insulting Joaquin?
Mundalo is also painting a picture to the audience that we are not logical people.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are also very
He's
learned
not in
people.
order, Mr. Speaker.
If Mundalo also wants us to argue about logical issues and facts at the table and what the president has not done and what his entire regime has failed, we can also do that. But the point is, it is also illogical for you to say that, emotions don't move people.
Yeah.
The president is moving around the country due
It is
to
because
emotions.
of emotions. In fact, I foresee maybe the president was at a state house with a tablet and he watches Rigathi Gachagua pointed how his ears have grown
Yes.
long.
He had
And
time
got
to respond to
infuriated.
that.
And he said, I want a rally tomorrow. Why? It's because of emotions that have moved him. If it
The
were not for
emotions moved
he
the
would have focused
president.
on the logical things that he's supposed to be doing.
Can we let the gentleman finish with in silence, please?
Okay.
Mr.
Yes,
Speaker,
in silence.
Mr. Speaker, he's not in order.
No, okay.
Mr. Speaker.
Do you want him to retract?
He has to
Do you want him to apologize?
I think he has to
Mundalo, can you
apologize.
For what exactly?
He has to apologize.
Jagero, I did not make mention of anyone.
Okay.
And I'll still insist that emotions don't move country forward. And just because, and you can be able to see, even the argument here, the people are investing more in emotions, and that's why you can even see the body language and everything. The facts don't change. The facts remain that we can only be able to start having tangible things and tangible conversations when we get logical about everything, not when we raise the volume of our sentiments and argument and shouting matches. Shouting matches don't change much. The truth is that as a country, you must be able to look at the facts.
Is shouting all over.
For once, you must agree with me that away from the emotions, nobody tabled any serious evidence in regard to what they are saying. And my argument has always been one. When we want to be able to move, we must point at the right direction for everything, including at the president, and be able to say, this is what you said you'll be able to do, this is what we expect you to do. That way, we move country forward. But when we stick to these sentimentalisms of saying, you know what, the president has grabbed land. He has been able to steal everything from the country. It sounds nice and convenient, and it can actually even make you electable in Kenya, because some people love that. But the truth is, it is not on the basis of any fact. The truth is, if you want us to really have a serious conversation, then you must point at specifics and say, you've been able to do this and this and this. And we can all be able to go to a court of law. Remember, we are in a functional democracy. We cannot just be able to make accusations on podcasts and on microphones and in churches. If we really have serious things we want to have a conversation about, if there is grabbing of something, we can be able to go to the courts and we can be able to stand there.
Let me ask
otherwise,
you're not going to.
On grabbing land.
Otherwise,
finishing.
Can I talk about land?
No.
In
You cannot talk about land.
In finishing,
You cannot talk about land. Let me finish.
In finishing, Jagero, it is very, very important that all our politicians know that they are not just watched by each other, they are watched by the moral compass of this country, and even the children, and everybody else is actually listening to them. Some of these things that they are saying can degenerate the country into a very chaotic space, and all of them have to be called to order. Not any of them is higher than the other. That is the argument I reject. Saying that now, because it's the president, now it is more hula balloon. No. Everyone. Remember, all these people who have been insulting the president are looking for that office of the president. So when they are busy insulting the president, that is the internship that they are doing. If that is the internship that they are doing, then you can just be able to guess what they can do when they get into office. So we can't base anything on that logic. From the civil society and the church and everybody, we can't wake up one day and because now the president has responded, now it is helter-skelter. No. Let us be able to hold the same brush of paint to everybody else. It can't just be, all these insults have been going on, but Jagero last night, for the first time, now I saw that News Gang is going to have a conversation today, and now it even has an advert of the conversation that they are going to have, just because now the president has been able to respond. But where were they when all these things were happening? Two things don't make a right, but it's important that we are honest and factual.
All right, thank you very much. We are not going to talk about land right now, Mr. SG Tafadhali, because we want to move this conversation into something else. I think we need to take a little bit of water, calm down, and make sure that the issue of land, wachana nayo sai. We want to go to Babu. People of the internet, Babu had a post today, about 10 hours ago, looking at his Facebook page right now. I want to be the party leader, not Secretary General. The Secretary General remains Edwin Sifuna. That is something that was said today. Mr. Mundalo, when I talked with Joachim today, Joachim always thinks that this idea of ODM is actually a wastage of time. We should be talking about serious issue. But I begged him and told him that, look, this is what is going on in the country today. We have Sifuna in Narok over the weekend. 5 days later, we have got an NDC, something that Sifuna himself has been talking about, Winnie Odinga has been talking about. So I beg that we talk about it. This is a notice of special National Delegates Conference, pursuant to the relevant provisions of the Orange Democratic Movement. Party constitution notice is hereby issued for a special National Delegate Conference to be held on March 27, 2026, at a venue to be communicated. Receive and consider a report from the National Executive Committee, number 1, as the agenda. consider and approve proposals endorsed in principle by the NEC. He's talking about the recommendation for the creation of an additional position of deputy party leader to accommodate Honorable Winnie Odinga, the endorsement of Honorable Babu Owino as a candidate for the position of the Secretary General of the party. What did you think about this, Mondala? I want to start with you when you saw this letter, because a lot of people sent me this letter, including Odhiambo, that has been very much embarrassed this evening by calling and telling me that. What did you think about this letter? The first time you saw it, what did you think about it? And now that it has been retracted, I think the retraction is coming from Nation, which owns the newspaper, that this is actually incorrect. But Babu still keeps it on 10 hours later. What do you think about it?
The first time I saw it, Jagero, like every other consumer of digital media, we must be careful of propaganda. So the first thing I did was to check the source. And I quickly checked Nation. And as big a notice as that, I also had to check the political party website, and I didn't see it anywhere. When I realized it's only on Babu Owino's page, then I knew that the owner of the page must also be the originator of that notice. And when you look at it, the biggest beneficiary of that fake notice is Honorable Babu Owino. Because I think when you are poised as Secretary General, then it gives you some proper impetus in a political party. So for me, I think it's Babu playing politics. And what I suspect, or what I could see, is that a bit there is a faction of the Linda Mwananchi group that whose heart is no longer 100% with the Linda Mwananchi. And they would want to make a U-turn to go back to Linda Ground or the mainstream political party. And so they are looking for a way out. And so the first thing was to test the waters using this Gazette notice, see how it is received. And most importantly, you see, there is always, when something is fake, you also have to ask yourself, Jagero, who is it meant for? I think it was meant for the real ODM officials. So that we are able to measure, will they retract quickly? Will they give it a thought? And so in the event they give it a thought, will they give us a phone call? And I think that was, for me, a political strategy from Babu Owino and a few others in that camp to say, hey guys, you can actually give us a call. We are ready to negotiate. So I think for me, what I saw in that is, hey guys, we are ready to negotiate with you. And that is the whole essence of that.
But then do you think before I go to our lawyer, Mr. Adriano Lodge, and tell us a little bit about what he thought about it. When they decided to make this fake letter, Winnie Odinga is also included in that. Okay. Do you think that Babu is fed up with Sifuna? What is going on?
I really think so, because remember, when you're making something fake, you have to ensure it has some gasp of legitimacy. If I want to make a fake letter that has been circulated by Safina party, I must ensure that the person who has signed is Joachim. Then it gives it authenticity, it makes it legit. Remember, there was a delegates meeting in Nairobi, and there was a conversation about Winnie Odinga being deputy party leader. So when you put it under that motion, it gives a stamp of legitimacy. So for me, I actually think that a faction of that group has been able to see that there is no end in sight in this thing we are doing. Because when you're going to the real election, you need now real things. It cannot just be euphoria. Number one, Jagero, you run for office on a political party. Some of them are not seeing that political party in sight. Number two, you need an infrastructure. Most of them are not seeing the infrastructure. ODM has a full built infrastructure, especially for a candidate like Babu Owino, who I argue that as it stands now is one of the, I think is the favorite person by ranking in terms of Nairobi governorship. He would really want to enjoy the political party structure of ODM. It makes the campaign cheaper. Remember, ODM has representation all the way to the ward level. The campaign is cheaper. The campaign is more effective. The campaign moves even faster. So I think Babu and a few others in that Linda Mwananchi faction are just, it's just about time, but they really have felt that this populism is not necessarily going to get us to the end at the end of the day. And also it's becoming more realistic, Jagero, that you know what, in truth, the party is gone. Because immediately after that NDC, now there will be no these conversations of faction and faction. After an NDC is held, the party will actually have gone.
I've got two questions for you, Adrian.
Yes, yes, yes.
Babu, I assume, is a lawyer, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
recently.
he's a lawyer, and he knows the party. Because one of the problems that I find so much with the fake letter that Babu put out today is that it is not it's not even within the law. Because on his fake letter, the person that is supposed to sign the letter is actually not the party leader. It's supposed to be the SG. Because if you look at actually, and there is something very interesting, and I find this very, very interesting with Babu, and I now realize that a lot of politicians really think that people are very silly, and nobody is going to add 1 + 1 to make a 2. Because, for example, the first thing, and I'm coming to you, the first thing that is very interesting about this letter is that Babu knows that the agenda for the NDC is already out, and it is on the party website. And on that party website, there are 7 pieces of agenda that are there that cannot change. And according to the constitution, it is actually supposed to have been put 21 days before the NDC. So now he puts up a fake letter with the person that is supposed to have signed it as the party leader, while he knows as a lawyer that actually it is the SG that signs on anything that comes from the. So I want, I have 2 questions for you. What do you think about the paper, the fake letter? But number 2, you are a big supporter of Sifuna
and Babu.
This is a huge disappointment for you because there's a lot of dilly-dallying from your leadership.
Okay, first of all, as a young person who yearns for change in this country, there are certain critical questions that are raised when Babu wakes up today, leave alone even the issue of the letter. He wakes up and say that I want to be the party leader of ODM. So you raise your question and say, all this populism that he has enjoyed, specifically for the last 3 months, through Linda Mwananchi, has been on the standpoint that they are not going to coalesce with the sitting government. So we raise critical questions as young people, or the Gen Z faction that are really yearning for new leadership. When you get to become the party leader of this specific party, are you going to still stand on the coalition agreement that you are having with UDA as a party? Or are you going to come in as a new person who is going to overturn the decision of an entire party which has absolutely stated that they're going to be supporting William Ruto in 2027? What happens to that? Those are the critical questions that we are also asking. But also at the same time, he has to remember that, as I have kept on saying, that the support that he's getting, the organic support from young people, has been for the main reason of not supporting William Ruto itself. So does he want to lose that support so that he can enjoy the material benefits or the political benefits of becoming a party leader of ODM and coaliting with the government itself? But also, there have been so many accusations like I've seen here, and let me say, as a supporter of Babu, before maybe he becomes a chameleon, because right now there's a very specific trend of new heroes coming up and disappointing us as Kenyans. So we are used to that. But aside from right now, if Babu wants to call for an NDC, and also Sifuna wants to call for an NDC, we don't have to make a fake letter. In fact, Sifuna stated it quite openly through major forums that he is the Secretary General of ODM, that any National Delegation Conference that is supposed to be called up is null and void under the law unless it is signed by him specifically. So as Linda Mwananchi faction, if we wanted a National Delegation Conference today, it is Sifuna who will just call it. We don't need to put out fake letters. We don't need to put out any fake memos. So to say that Babu Owino curated this specific fake letter so that he can test the waters and see what is happening, that is some kind of a fallacy. We don't need to do that as a faction because Babu Owino, together with Sifuna, have proven as a very resistant force. So anything that we want to do in terms of maybe changing the leadership of ODM, we will do it so blatantly instead of putting on specific acts that people are trying to see that it is theater, like Mundalo has put it. So if we want an NDC today, Sifuna will call for the NDC. That is how I see it as a point. But one thing that is quite clear, the ODM party has been very adamant in calling a National Delegation Conference. That is one thing that would agree with it. In fact, the National Delegation Conference was supposed to be held earlier on, right? It did not happen. There are a lot of people, in fact, in the faction of Babu Owino, they have questioned and asked, when are you holding this particular NDC? They have not been quite clear on it. Why? It's because they are curating and planning and getting delegates together so that the agenda that they want fits the leaders that they want to install in that particular ODM party. That is why it is very useless for Babu to go for an NDC that is already planned on how they would want to install certain leaders who fit the agenda of ODM currently. But also there is a problem, and I would like you to also note this. You know, a National Delegation Convention does not only consist of these hungry hyenas such as Joho and Junet Mohammed, or these specific few people who are highly benefiting from the government. It also consists of committee members from the villages who form part of the delegation of ODM. All these people, there is a part that has shown that they're not in agreement with the entire broad-based blueprint. So they have to spend so much time as a party trying to convince these individuals and tell them that we need such Secretary General from Busia County, the women rep, as our party. But these people have felt like that is not the decision they want to make. They want to see people like Babu Owino, they want to see people like Sifuna brought back to the party for the survival of the party and their positions themselves. That has been a big problem.
Okay, let's go to SG. SG, what do you think about this thing? SG is very mad that we keep talking about ODM, but Safina is not giving us anything.
In fact, SG makes so much opinion about ODM than his own party.
Yeah, he's first of all, the president is in the bunker.
A banker that has a tunnel from his home to Wayaki Way.
Is that what we are here to talk about?
SG, it is your time.
SG, you are proximal to power.
SG wants power.
I get very tired because based on what we are talking about, it symbolizes.
I want to talk about the letter that was put up.
There's nothing to talk about on that letter.
Okay.
If you have ascertained that it's fake, then I don't know why I should talk about a fake letter.
Okay.
So my issue is, we are talking about things that are of no importance to us. I do not know why we should be talking about, you see, the reason why, personally, I have no problem with the Linda Mwananchi. I actually support it from a distance.
Okay, you support it from a distance.
But why is it being supported? That's the biggest question.
Okay.
Why do the people feel that they should rally behind the issue of Linda Mwananchi and this ODM faction that is talking about the issues of the people? It's because there is a need to talk about the issues of the people. When I see a press statement to talk about mining of rare minerals in Murima Hill, I'll be passionate in talking about it. When I see them make a press statement about how they have come up with a plan of making Nairobi work, I'll be happy. But if we are talking about the positions to be in political party like ODM, then do what? You see, Nashanga, we are still actually talking about it. It shows that, are we really for the change that we want? If what is it that we are looking for? And I don't see it in all this that we are doing. The Google map is pointing west, and we are going north.
Yeah. We are also thinking that what are we going to talk about, because we have Safina party who is supposed to be telling us about the fifth agenda, but as we have said and said several times, that is in the bunker.
Let me ask. I want to ask you a question.
We have Wamunyoro who, instead of telling us who the presidential candidate is busy abusing the president.
We have
Matiang'i who is supposed to be
that's why I'm telling you
of the country.
That's That's why I'm telling you.
He's busy doing what? Then we have Maraga, who is speaking to an empty road. I mean, what do you want us to talk about?
Let me tell you this. Who is it about?
Yeah.
Who should we talk? Our commentary should center where?
Yes.
Is it about the actions that are being done by the same people who have been part of a system that has led us here? Okay, what do you expect Gachagua to say? He's being himself. The same with Matiang'i. And that's why it's frustrating to know. It's like watching a play that you watched its rehearsal.
Okay.
So you cannot expect anything more than what, you know what will happen next.
Okay.
So the other people in the audience can be mesmerized. Because they are waiting for some plot twist. Watu wanapiga simu sana. But as I asked, who is it about? Is it about Matiang'i?
Okay.
Is it about Gachagua? The issues that we are talking about, and let's say anything about infrastructure, health, it's about ours, our own issues. We as the people should sit down and say, what are our issues? Matiang'i is talking about his issues.
Which are his, what are Matiang'i's?
He's talking about how they did Linda Mama with Uhuru Kenyatta. Those are his issues.
Okay.
Gachagua is talking about his issues. He has a problem with President Ruto. The same with Kalonzo. But me as Joachim, when I sit here, what are my issues?
Okay.
That's what I want us to engage in. Okay, it's the kind of politics that looks alien.
Okay.
It's not the kind of politics that has been exercised.
Okay.
It's about razzmatazz, pomp and color. Who is saying what? Who is insulting who? But at the end of the day, these people insulting each other will still work together under the guise of national unity and stability.
But that is, and do you think that Sifuna is going to be working with them? Do you think Babu is going to be working with them? Do you think that I mean, I'm wondering how Safina can become presidential without working with them? That is what I'm wondering. But I want to play the videos that we had today of Orengo. You told me that you're going to be playing Osotsi. We have Osotsi and then we have Gladys Wanga, because there is an issue here about the fact that we are going to be having parallel, NDC. So we want to talk about that. I don't know if you have Osotsi or Wanga, so that we hear them talk about what is going on there. Osotsi, yes.
Being an ODM People's National Delegates Convention, which is going to run parallel to the NDC that has been called by the Linda Group, Linda Ground Group. And on 29th, we shall be having a mega rally in Mombasa town. So I think those dates are very clear. And I also want to emphasize that the Linda Mwananchi, we have made a decision that we are not going to participate in the National Delegates Convention that has been convened and organized by the Linda Ground Group, because that NDC is illegal, that NDC is undemocratic, and some of the ODM members have gone to court questioning the legitimacy and also the legality of that NDC. So that has to come out very clearly. We control 35 counties out of the 47 counties, and we expect that the delegates who will be coming to our meeting will be the joining delegates, as opposed to theirs who will be fake delegates. And we are told they are compiling a list of fake delegates who will attend the NDC. So any ODM member, be aware that the NDC convened by the Linda Ground Group is illegal, and should be avoided like plague. The
Delegates Convention of the ODM party that will happen on 27th at Jamhuri Grounds, that has been, as has been said by the SG. So there will be only one ODM as an institution, 21 years old this year, and ways to call an NDC are stipulated in the constitution of the party. So people are free to hold political rallies, they are free to hold barazas, they are free to hold parties, but the NDC of the ODM party will only be one at Jamhuri Grounds on 27th, Friday next week. And we welcome our members, the delegates who have already been communicated to and will be there on that.
Mundalo, that is the deputy party leader, Gladys Wanga, speaking, and that is Osotsi, not Osotsi speaking, right? Yeah, so I don't understand. We have the question of a parallel NDC that is spoken about by Osotsi, by Orengo. Orengo actually came out and said that there is going to be a people's NDC, right? What do you think how is that going to work? Because we have a way an NDC works. I think you have been in Jubilee and you know how these NDCs work. What do you think is going to happen? Politically, what are Kina Orengo trying to do? Because it sounds like swearing in the people's president at Uhuru Park back in the day. I don't know what this is about.
First of all, Jagera, I wanted to say that there is a place for political analysis. There is a place for commentary.
Yes.
There is a place for strategy and a place for communication.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted so that Joachim does not really kill you for choosing to discuss what is trending, because there is always a place for all that. And sometimes maybe as Secretary General, he might rank a bit higher to have that conversation. Maybe me and Wakili can do analysis and commentary.
Yeah, I feel like he's forcing us with these issues at the fifth
agenda. Because you see, it's until your issue makes sense to the nation, until your issues make sense to the nation, you then cannot be a subject of conversation. And also, media freedom is about we in the leadership and in the commentary allowing the media to decide what they want to talk about. Otherwise, now what the SG is doing is media gagging.
But
then
he's actually I'm very unhappy by the way he's trying to gag.
This is not the media. This is just a room where people do.
This is the media.
Yeah, he wants to force which conversations, because they can also have a podcast called Safina Party Podcast. Then they can discuss their issues. But then about this issue that you've raised about the NDC. First of all, what Kina Orengo are trying to do is basically to try and keep the support that they have been able to have from people like Wakili.
Okay.
So it is about how do we ensure that we keep our fan base still believing in us. So it's purely just a political rally to keep political relevance. It is not an NDC. And you rightfully put, I have served in the political party space at the NEC. And there's a process of calling a National Delegates Convention. The first thing is that the notice has to be 21 days prior. So the question would be, which 21 days before, did they give any notice for them to be able to be having an NDC? So the fact that they did not means there is no NDC. Number two, yes, they might be having the Secretary General of the party. But the reason why the Secretary General cannot be able to issue that notice, and he knows it because he's also a lawyer, is that the Secretary General does not issue notice on the basis of his imaginations. The Secretary General issues a notice on the basis of a NEC meeting. So the problem is this Secretary General, whom they keep flaunting in the name of the SG, he's the one who can sign, has no NEC members. So he has no NEC members to hold a meeting with and then subsequently issue any notice. So factually speaking, the truth is that the NDC that will happen for ODM will be the one that will have all the apparatus of the party. It will have the parliamentary group meeting. It will have all those other people. They have about 100 and something members of parliament in ODM. For Sifuna to really call a real NDC, he must be able to at least galvanize, if not half, even just a quarter of them. Now, because there is no potential to do that, that's why you will then opt for a rally and then call it an NDC for the sake of maintaining political euphoria, for the sake of pleasing the people who are still supporting you, because some of them are not necessarily very deep thinkers. They will actually trust these things that you are actually saying, but the fact is they will actually lead you to no real end. And that's why I told you, the people who issued the fake notification of an NDC are also aware that they are not seeing a very formidable end in sight. And that's why they would want to go back to the other side, because in reality, that is the side that will actually move the politique. But this other side is purely euphoria. You can play with the euphoria here and there. You can move up and down. You see, anyone can wake up, Jagero, even myself or anyone, can just wake up tomorrow and say he's the Secretary General of Safina Party. It does not change Joachim from being the Secretary General.
Yeah.
But he can call 20 people and even cause razzmatazz in town. But it does not necessarily mean that he is the Secretary General. So for me, the Linda Mwananchi faction, in terms of taking the leadership of ODM, they have lost that battle to the Linda Ground team. If I was them...
The question... Yes, you go ahead and finish that one.
Yeah. If I was them, I would be able to agree with the political reality that, number one, away from the euphoria, the truth is that majority of the party, in fact, not majority, the entire party is not with us. We might be able to be having some euphoria from some people. We have some people who are online and others on the ground. But most of them, also the other truth is that they're not necessarily ODM members. Yeah, I doubt Wakili is an ODM member, but he's an enthusiast of that Linda Mwananchi. I would be able to argue like this.
He's in Linda Mwananchi party.
Yeah, you can't be in Linda Mwananchi party because it doesn't exist.
So
Wakili,
I'm not sarcastic.
So Wakili is an enthusiast.
Okay.
If I were them, I would be able to tell myself the truth that, you know what, ODM as a party has chosen this path. And fully so. They have the endorsement of NEC, PG, and their members. We do not read from that script. Me, as Edwin Sifuna, I don't read from that script. I don't agree with it. And therefore, the right thing for me to do is to bolt out. After I bolt out, I now look for my enthusiasts, the people who are supporting me like Wakili and the rest, and tell them the truth, that now we have bolted out, we are starting a political party, our political party will be called this, and now we are starting that journey. You will be leading people somewhere that has a definite end. But as it is now, you are still playing in a loop. It's just a quagmire. You are just trying to, you are doing things to maintain some relevance, but the truth is there's actually nowhere you are going, and you know it that there's actually nowhere you are going, because at the end of the day, Jagero, political party leadership is about who is gazetted with the office of the registrar of political parties. It matters not how many people you assembled in Busia and how many you assembled in Kitengela and how many you assembled in whatever. What matters is that were you endorsed by the NEC and the National
problem
Delegates
that people
Convention.
have with you is that you keep
I think
being sarcastic.
There was one point
Something.
he mentioned about one thing that, definitely legally as a lawyer and somebody who also studies, delegated laws such as party constitutions. Generally, when it comes to calling National Delegation Conference, even if you look at the ODM constitution itself under Article 17.3, I guess. First of all, calling a National Delegation Conference is not supposed to be the authority of the Secretary General himself. For him to convene a meeting by himself and also wake up today and tell us that we are having a National Delegation Conference. So first of all, that authority has to be vested in that National Executive Committee. They have to sit down in a meeting, decide on the agendas, and plan the specific thing. The only reason why people like Sifuna are contending that I hold the power to call for this National Delegation Conference is just the formal quasi-power that we always assign Secretary Generals. That after convening this meeting, the letter that will come out will have the signature of the Secretary General to call for this meeting, the communicator itself. So that is the power that Sifuna is also holding on to it, that any letter that will be called after that meeting might not be valid. But when you look at the constitution of ODM, it does not also provide explicitly that it has to be the Secretary General to call for that National Delegation Conference.
If I can just add on something that Adrian
it is
saying
just a
as he
tradition
continues.
of SGs.
The Jubilee Party, in calling the National Delegates Convention that was done last year, that letter was signed by the party leader. Okay? So the Secretary General is basically a communicator of the decisions of the NEC. But what the Linda Mwananchi is making all of you believe is that the Secretary General is the party, and therefore his imaginations are the ones that constitute memoranda, and therefore once his signature is not there, then it makes that thing illegal. The truth is that
His choice of words
whereas that can be
choice of
something
words?
that can be populist. He can have time to choose his words because I haven't given.
But you, instead
the
of
truth
listening
is-
to the conversation,
exactly,
you're busy on your phones and disrespecting.
How am I
plus,
knowing?
Yagero, plus,
How
he-
am I knowing that his choice of words are?
Yeah, but you are on your phone all the time.
Exactly.
I mean, you
Plus-
want
What do you
to
want
step
me
out
to
and
do?
speak to your party leader.
he's in the bank. But
You
and-
can't
and-
be
and
like
also,
that.
Yeah.
we let Joachim
party
allow
leaders actually
let Joachim allow smaller people to discuss another part.
Yes.
so the truth is that the Secretary General of a party is a communicator of the decisions of the NEC. It does not necessarily mean when you are Secretary General, you are alpha and omega of decisions of the political party. That's why I just wanted to chime in and say, I remember even in the Jubilee NDC, it is the party leader. The notice was actually signed by the party leader.
Okay.
I think
Go
I think the
ahead,
reason why, just like I've said, so for Sifuna to still legitimately hold his position or claim to hold his position to the people, he has to convince people that I am the one who has the power to call for an NDC.
Yeah.
But that
politics.
power is only allied to the traditional role of a Secretary General,
General.
to just communicate that we'll be having an NDC at this particular time.
Yeah.
But legally, and I would love to say this because I'm a lawyer, he does not have the authority by himself to call an NDC. And also, the Constitution itself does not explicitly provide that if a notice has to come out of a meeting of a National Executive Committee, it has to be signed by the Secretary. It is just a traditional law that is there. But Sifuna still has to convince people that that document has to be signed by me.
Yeah.
But legally, he cannot call for a
is good
National
politic.
Delegation Conference. That one I agree very well. But also, you have to look at it that this is politics.
Yeah.
There's a time where the courts have stated that the removal of Sifuna was not lawful, right? But ODM still went ahead and appointed someone, and still that person is still carrying out the duties of the Secretary General. So they blatantly ignored the law.
No, actually,
so
she signed as Deputy Secretary General.
But-
Otherwise, it would still, the NDC would be legal.
I know. That is what they did, but pronouncements were made at political rally that she was supposed to be the Secretary General.
Yeah.
But, so now that it is also political, we can also allow Sifuna to also play politically. Now that the court stated that I'm the Secretary General, then I'm also supposed to be part of that National Executive Committee, and I am not there.
Yeah.
So we can also blatantly ignore all these rules and say that I want to call for an NDC because it is now political.
Something is very interesting.
I wouldn't-
Something that is very interesting
Talk to
is
me.
that we basically have two factions here. Linda Mwananchi is having, is it blue? I think blue.
Yeah,
blue color.
blue color.
And they are having their own activities going on parallel to those of ODM. Okay, so I don't know who Kina Sifuna are fooling because I think the English people say you cannot have your cake and eat it. But every other day they're trying to have their cake and eat it. And I was thinking that, okay, if you look at ODM, I think that Babu Owino is a very strong member of ODM, quote unquote.
Very strong.
Sifuna is a very strong member of ODM, quote unquote.
Yes.
And before, about a month ago, they have been clamoring for the NDC. Bring out the NDC. Even Winnie, who we are going to talk about next, was
Yes.
talking about NDC.
But-
and now it is here with us. But why do you think they want to create a parallel one? Because have they been told specifically that they are not welcome into this one?
And that is the biggest puzzle that I keep having. And it's good you said that you cannot have your cake and
Eat it.
eat it, definitely. Because, first of all, this party, this faction, like you love to call it, has created a certain form of a third wave that has been called, right?
Yeah.
So there's a certain kind of a faction or a new wave that they're creating that is far away from all these political parties. But at the same time, they're also telling us they want to be the leaders of all these other political parties that people seem not to agree with. So there's a problem, specifically with Babu Owino. What is his position when it comes to ODM? Does he just want to become the party leader and get to become governor and side with Ruto?
Okay.
Or does he want those positions outside ODM?
Yeah.
And also they have to know that when you are creating this new wave, there is nobody who will support a third force that does not have a presidential candidate.
Yeah.
Right now, if you ask individuals like Sifuna, have they decided on becoming presidents? They have not stated that. So that third party needs the structure of a new party. That is number one. If indeed it is going to be called a new third force, it has to be a new party far away from ODM or all these other parties. You cannot say that a third force will now be ODM. What if 90% of them who are broad-based government decide to eject out? What party are you left with? You need another new party. So they have to tell us, will we have a new party, the Linda Mwananchi party? Because they stated that they wanted to register Linda Mwananchi party and they were not able to, but they are still fighting for the positions of ODM. So will we have that party? Number two, people like Sifuna needs to tell us, do you want to become the senator of Nairobi or do you want to become the president of Kenya? People like Babu Owino needs to also tell us, you want to become the governor of Nairobi. Under which party do you want to do it? And even if it is ODM itself, are you still going to remain in that party if you are given what you want, but you still have to remain with Ruto? You see, those are the critical questions that puzzles us, just the same way you're saying that you're trying to have your cake at the same time and you're trying to eat it. And that is the problem. So they need to come out clearly. And I keep telling Kenyans that you have to be very careful with the type of new wave leaders that you are supporting. Because I have to be very genuine. We have been disappointed by Morara Kebaso. We have been disappointed by Kasmuel. Yes, there is that urgent need of new leaders.
But where did Kasmuel go? The last time I checked, he was having a fierce battle with Sifuna.
I remember, but Kasmuel was a miscalculation. Definitely. You know what happened to Kasmuel? He was more valuable while he was on our side. But the moment they took him in, he became useless. So even the people... Exactly. Even the people in ODM no longer need Kasmuel. So you look at Kasmuel right now, the fact that ODM does not need him.
Yeah. ODM does not need him?
Why do they need Kasmuel?
To do what?
To do what? Explain to us.
What's his value?
A very simple question we need to ask.
Okay.
So we have been disappointed for so long. And what happens today if Babu Owino gets a National Executive Committee position and is given the party ticket to vie in Nairobi? What happens to the people who have been yelling Babu Owino? The Kikuyus in Nairobi, the Luyas in Nairobi, all these people, young people who have stated that Babu was a Babu. What happens today if Sifuna is brought back as the Secretary General for ODM party and they tell him, okay, you are now the Secretary General as you want it. And they tell him, here's your ticket to vie for the senatorial position. What happens to the people who turned up at Kitengela, who died there?
I don't like the direction you are taking.
And he has no problem.
Those are questions that you need to question. The problem. The problem with Kenyans, we focus so much on theatrics rather than questioning those people who seem or want to lead us. And that is the mistake that we made far most while we were starting to support certain individuals like Morara Kebaso. Like, what does this position hold for us? And one day, in fact, one of the reasons why people were infuriated with people like Morara Kebaso, one day you would wake up and see Morara Kebaso with Rigathi Gachagua. One day you'd wake up and see him with another politician, Silvanos Osoro, here at United Club. Same to Kasmuel the same way, right? And people were questioning, here on Twitter, you're talking so much about these corrupt leaders, but you're taking pictures with them, smiling with them. So those same questions are going to be asked about Sifuna and also Babu. So this, I feel like Kenyans...
Will you be shocked if you saw a picture tomorrow of Babu Owino having a...
I will not be shocked because I'm the few people who are asking those questions. You know, the problem when you ask those questions, people feel like you're trying to undermine that section. The moment you're questioning the position of Babu, people say that you're trying to spread the propaganda that these people will sell out someday. But no, sometimes you have to understand that this is politics. Those people have their own personal interest. So they have to make an assurance or a covenant with these young people and tell us, this is specifically what I want. And I keep telling Kenyans, if you want to know someone who is going to misdirect you, they are never clear on the position or part that they support. You ask them, which party are you going to vie on? We will decide. You ask them, which position are you going to go for? They tell you, I can be the president, I can be the senator, whatever the people decide. That kind of language elongates the support without trying to be clear on what they want. And also Sifuna, it is the same way. Sifuna has not told the people whether he wants to become the senator or the president or the deputy president. Every time he goes to a rally, he tells people that Kenyans can give me any seat. Today they can decide to do this and that. Why? Because the theatrics has to keep on going. Because the moment you take one side, it affects the other. If Sifuna today wakes up and decides to be senator, people question, who's going to be the presidential candidate for Linda Mwananchi now that you want to be senator? That means we do not have a presidential candidate, and we wanted you to be the presidential candidate. So you see those questions. Specifically,
those are serious questions. I don't know whether SG. We want to go to the video where the video where Winnie was. You remember the video? Let's go. Video. Winnie is talking about being very happy and very surprised that she's being proposed to be a deputy party leader. I want us to go to that.
The day being nominated as a deputy party leader. Niliitwa na wa chairman na walisema nafikiri tu ni mkutano ya kuzungumza juu ya mambo ya Nairobi. Lakini vile watu wa Nairobi wameniset. Vile nimeona wanachama wanipanga na wana uoga. Basi hivyo tuende mbele. Tumetoka 2007. Tumezurura. Tumeenda rallies, tumeenda maandamano, tumeenda kila pahali. And everywhere in Kenya, the place that says how politics of Kenya will go ni hapa Nairobi. Na hii Nairobi iko na wenyewe. Na wana Nairobi, wenyewe Nairobi ni ODM members, wanachama wa ODM. Wao ndio wana Nairobi. Ni sisi ndio tutapanga. Hakuna mtu atakuja hapa atatukupanga. Top shot. Sasa leo sina mambo mengi. Nimesikia kuna watu hapa ati wananikaribisha nyumbani. Ati wananikaribisha. Nilienda wapi? Utawasemea labda wanafikiri nilienda Arusha. Hiyo ni kazi tu. Hiyo ni mambo ya yala. Mimi hii chama hii nyumba yetu. Hii nyumba ambayo tulijenga. Hii nyumba ambayo babangu alijenga. Mimi Winnie Odinga natoka hapa nikienda wapi? When it comes to party positions, those that have put their lives on the line should be the first people to be considered for party positions. I cannot deny Nairobi, it's right. So kwa hivyo we will go there. Nairobi must have a seat on the table. Nairobi comes with 1 million votes from ODM. Nairobi will have its say. And on March 27th, we will have...
Okay, so people of the internet, that is Winnie Odinga being very surprised. I wonder whether it is a plastic surprise or she's actually surprised. What do you think? Is she surprised that she's being fronted as a deputy party leader?
What is she supposed to be if not surprised? That you are now deputy party leader.
Yeah.
It's a good statement for the public. And also, I told you yesterday, she's Raila's daughter and the son of Min Piny, who is now a UNEP ambassador. UNEP ambassador, it means you are working with the president. Your uncle is the party leader and he wants power. So where are you left? So she has to actually stay where the bread is buttered, and I have no problem with her. She has chosen her family over every other thing. Do not think is any political calculation. No, she's home. And as a daughter, you could see that she tweeted and told the president that I'm coming home, I'm ready to serve. You saw that tweet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is that mean?
She actually said it even at the funeral of her father.
Yes. And it means that, Mr. President, I'm ready to work with you. So, and she has never come out publicly to castigate anything or say the president, the government's not doing this right. You see, she's a liquid form that fits every container.
She's playing passive.
Yes, passive politics. She's being her father's daughter, so I have no problem. So these things that are happening right now, and that's why my friend, the lawyer,
the big lawyer,
has asked questions.
Okay, very, very tough questions.
And those questions are the ones I've always wanted to ask, but I decided not to.
Why?
Because I was afraid of looking like I am not in support of people who care about the country.
Okay.
But again,
Where are we heading? Joakim is always a comedian. Shouldn't
Do
be
you
surprised.
want to say that the young lawyer has given you the strength?
Just say it.
at least I will not be the only one saying it. But again,
Yeah.
I told you, and from the word go, that as you are running in the pitch, some people are seated in the shadows watching.
Okay.
And I said here that the biggest concern for Sifuna should be who is around him. And I am worried about those people who are around him. Sincerely. He has to be very careful. Otherwise, you see how they dealt with Baba Masazake Zamwisho. They take all your lieutenants. So you are left with no option. So when they take Joho and Junet, they tell Mbadi you will be minister. Oparanya, you are deputy, you will be minister. Even if the party leader, you disagree and they go, what are you left with? So one of the criteria that can be employed here is to snatch all the people that are giving Linda Mwananchi
The relevance.
and
And I feel like they're living one by one.
they
But I said yesterday that this is the slow death of Linda.
No,
Mwananchi.
I do not want to.
And he himself told me on air that people are calling him and sending him messages and saying that my thumbnail is misleading.
You see, people do not want you to look like you do not believe in what they believe in.
Okay.
People want to believe that this is at least where there is hope. But then again, we the people ati aliyeumwa na nyoka akiona ung'ong'a hushtuka. We are trying to look through the end of the tunnel. What is most likely to happen at the end of the day? Because we do not want to invest emotion and time. Then time comes and we are left with
Very sad.
a zero balance. So today, I am running out of words, honestly. I've never experienced something like this.
Like what?
Running out of words. But today I am, because I find that we are circling, it's circumnavigation.
Yeah.
Where when you travel for a long distance facing one direction,
Yeah.
you finally find yourself to the same point of origin. And I don't want it to be like that, because it's depressing, because it means that the questions we are asking and the issues we are trying to address shall still be here even when we are talking about the next election.
Okay.
That we can have an election, then come back here to talk about the same problems when different faces of the people are in those offices.
Yeah.
My hope and ambition is that we get new faces and a new way of leadership. It does not end on the ballot. That when you cast your vote and your favorite politician is announced a winner, what does that mean
Yeah.
to the daily happenings of leadership in the country? So what I am watching is normal theatrics that we have always witnessed. And at the end of the day, we end up with zero balance.
Okay.
That's why I keep on insisting that it's not about anyone else. It's about me and you.
I think, and you have told me this several times, and I want to give you an opportunity, because there are so many things that you keep calling me and asking me that we should discuss. And sometimes we take time. Like today, we were supposed to talk about the Russian issue,
Yeah,
or the
definitely.
issues of the political, conferences, press conferences that are being held today.
And
I
Necessitated
understand.
the fact that if you look into this Basha, it actually has the
No.
research about
These are demand letter. These are demand letter I was
No,
sending
you were
someone.
I know there are other things in there.
These are
It was
demand
supposed to
letter.
actually-
That's
I
for a
can see
lawyer
You
who has.
can see them, right? They're inside there. I know. We were supposed to talk about the Russian issue. and the fact that a lot of Kenyans are trapped in Russia. We're supposed to talk about that. I always send you a few things that we need to talk about. I think we can always talk about that.
Yes.
But there is something that this guy usually talks about. It is interesting. I had a call today with an insider at ODM who called me and told me that Jagero, I hear that these people are tapping our phones, brother, and it's very interesting. He told me that I see that you guys want to talk about. You are always talking about ODM, and I've got a few things to say about the NDC that is coming. And when you hear that Winnie Odinga is saying that she has accepted the nomination to be a deputy party leader, he told me that is not on the table during the NDC on the 27th March of this month. It is not there. And I asked, but what is the reason why Alado has actually stood up in front of everybody and endorsed her? And I say, he's told me that I want you to go to the ODM website and look and go, and specifically where it is. And I went with the mouse and I found where the notice is. I don't know if you can put up the notice, the Orange Democratic Movement notice as a special delegates convention. I did not know. I don't know whether Babu knew that this is actually on the website of ODM when the fake one was being put online. And it reads, please take notice that pursuant to Articles 47 and 49 as to read together with the so and so articles, the Orange Democratic Movement Party Constitution, a special delegate convention shall be held on Friday, 27th March 2026 in Nairobi County, commencing at 9 a.m. He told me specifically to look at the agenda, okay? And the agenda is, number 1 is going to be prayers. Number 2 is going to be notice to convene the meeting. Number 3, adoption of the agenda. Number 4, ratification of the National Governing Council resolution on party leadership. That means what has already been discussed. Number 5, taking note of the National Executive Committee resolution of Article 87 of the party constitution. There are going to be speeches, and lastly, there is an address by the party leader who has a stance is Oburu Odinga, because I think they are going to be ratifying him.
So ratification by acclamation.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what is going to happen. So then it means that there is nothing to do with
there will be no election.
There will be no election. There will be nothing to discuss about. And so it is just interesting. I want to go to Mundalo. Mundalo, what do you think about this thing? Because it appears that, I don't know, this politics that is being played, perhaps that's why Joachim is very angry at the politics that is being played.
I think the only thing I'm happy about Joachim's last comment is that he has said that he has realized that it's very, it's not important to be emotional about some of these things. It is good to be objective. And I think that's a lesson he has learned.
Have you really said that?
I am usually emotionally objective.
So
emotionally objective.
Yes. So when it comes to this matter of ODM, you know, Jagero, politics is played in its reality. And the reason why there is a lot of disappointment sometimes, especially for those of us, and maybe all of us on this panel who are very ardent supporters of Raila Odinga, is because most of the time we did not look and play politics in its reality. Now, Winnie Odinga must have looked and analyzed the reality of the politique, not necessarily the euphoria and the noise and the online chaos. The reality of the politique is this, Jagero. First of all, she must have realized that in the ODM issues, first of all, there are no factions. Factions is a creation of the media and a creation of those who would want it to look like they are actually factions. Because in a political party that has millions of membership and a party structure and a NEC and a PG, you will be able to look at what is the composition of the National Executive Committee of the party. How many are they? So how many are on this faction and how many are on the other one? When you look at it, Edwin Sifuna's faction, apart from himself, there is no other member of the National Executive Committee. Now you come back and look at what is the second most important. Actually, not the second. The most important element of the political party when it's in power.
Is not part of NDC.
Okay, yeah, sure. That makes them two. So when you come now and look at the PG, the parliamentary group meeting, which is now another, actually the most important element of a political party after elections. The party has about 110 members of parliament. Now, how many are on this side and how many are on this side? So you look at Edwin Sifuna's faction, and they barely have about 4. Is it 4 or 3? Then the rest are on the other side. So objectively speaking, Jagero, you would be able to just see who actually has the party. The truth is, ODM is on one side, the entire party. And so Winnie Odinga must have realized that she has to play politics in its reality. If she has to do that in its reality, then she must be on the side of ODM. She must also have realized, like many people, that, you know what is the end game? After the public acclamations, the euphoria, the jumping up here and there and holding some rallies. So then what at the end of the day? Because at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, people want, like he says, they want a presidential candidate. They want candidates for what? They want a political party. And when Winnie is not seeing that very well, she now has to know that, you know what, the right side to be is actually this side, because this is actually the party. So that is the exercising the politics in its reality. And that is what many people are going to come to. Because as it stands today, Jagero, Joachim's political party, Safina party, is a better tool than Linda Mwananchi when it comes to the real politique. Because when he signs a letter for Wakili here, he can actually become a contestant in Starehe constituency. But there is no place where Linda Mwananchi can sign a letter for him to become anything, because it's not even something that exists. So until the structure gets comfortable,
can become a DJ.
Yeah, until
DJ Spider.
Until they really have a real, then there is still a problem there. And I think that is what Winnie is saying. When it comes to the issue of the deputy party leader, I don't hold the opinion that she was honestly surprised. I think it was just politics. I think they needed some big news on that day. And so it was important to faction it. All of us in politics do that many times. They will faction it like it's news that is coming in. I remember even when Joachim was announced, he was seated there, but it was meant to look like it's news that is now being brought to the public.
Mine was news.
Yet he had taken tea at cafe with his party leader, and they had already agreed.
Yeah.
No,
so the truth is,
hata walikuwa kwa hema.
Kwa hema,
Ndani,
exactly.
Mlikuwa kwa hema pale ndani, bali watu walikuwa wamekaa hivi kwa mlango.
So the truth is, I think it is something that I think it is something Winnie knew. And in my personal opinion, I don't really think it will be a very good idea to actually proceed on it and make her deputy party leader. Okay. It will be popular for the moment, but in terms of running the party now for the future, 2-3 months later, 4 months later, 1 year later, it will be a very formidable argument for someone to say, how can be the party leader and the deputy come from the same family? And it will now be conversation at that time. Right now, it might not be conversation because people want to galvanize and we want everyone on board. But in terms of a long-term plan, I don't think it's quite a very, very strategic
And you know, one thing
idea.
that...
And I actually think maybe they might not execute it.
And you know, ODM is... You know, most people forget that ODM was a national party with a national appeal. And there was a reason why we had 2 deputy party leaders.
3, actually.
3, in fact.
Yeah.
A position like Secretary General, all these positions never went to Luos. A Secretary General came from a community like the Luya community. Yeah. The Luya community has been holding ODM for a very long time.
Both SG and deputy.
Definitely. All these deputy party leaders' positions, they were given to regions such as Kisii, the Coast, and also at some point, Western itself. There was a key reason for that. Because ODM has not survived just as a party for Nyanza people. It has survived as a party that had a certain national appeal. So in case we are having restructuring when it comes to leadership in ODM itself, that diversity has to keep going. Yeah. And that is why Sifuna has a very big bargaining power against ODM people. He came from a Luya community. He had that vigorness of trying to get these people together to get into ODM. So that replacement has to be very direct and copy-pasted itself so that diversity with ODM remains. Because the fallout and the dwindling of ODM starts when it starts to look like a party that only belongs to the Nyanza people. Yes.
Okay, I want to read some comments from the people of the internet. There are many comments today. Sifuna is dancing on Baba's grave, saying he never divided the party. Now busy fighting even a brother to Raila, abusing our leaders. That is Ochieng Anyor. Mr. Chronicle is saying since he differs with what Baba stood for. Okay, responding to them. They were unable to manage a non-entity called Team Fresh. Then they formed Kenya Moja. How can they even imagine managing Juggernaut ODM? That is 2.0. Some people have got a very interesting names. His name is 2.0. Okay? Hey, they saying Jagero. Gen Z does not like Sifuna and co. If they want
that is the problem.
The youth should
and
vote out.
That is the problem.
Fresh start.
That is the problem with trying to raise those questions that I've raised. And that is why even Simiyu, and that is why Simiyu was afraid of trying to raise those questions for Linda Mwananchi. The moment you raise those specific questions, people feel like you don't fit the agenda of transformation that the young Gen Zs fought for. And that has been the problem. But we also have to be very critical. We have stated that we have the power to vote. Let us have also the power to critically play politics and analyze and ask the critical question. So when I say that I want you to become the president of this particular movement and I want a political party, why am I saying that?
How is that?
Because that is how politics is supposed to be played. I'm not saying that in terms of undermining. Okay? So Jagero, when people say that this person does not like Sifuna, I'm the biggest supporter of Sifuna.
Yeah, Mundalo stopped down playing Safina party. It is very disrespectful.
Yes, you told him he should stop downplaying Safina party.
Shiwa Bosch is saying, I wish Sifuna team can join the NDC and listen to what they have to say. If they fail, Babu go to governor and Sifuna go back to Senate. Maybe later they can form a party of their own. George Mulama is saying, this podcast today is most disappointing. This Mundalo guy, too sarcastic.
And making us angry.
I had a feeling that he was very sarcastic. These are when we started, he was making both of you.
Yeah. If you did not switch the topics, I don't think the podcast would have gone on. We were already boiling.
Okay, Mr. Kevin Otieno is saying, Wakili, how can I air my thoughts on that NDC on how to expel Mr. Patel and Mr. Umwami from our party ODM? All right, I don't know who these people are he's talking about. Ochieng Anyor is saying you're right, Mr. Mundalo. Okay. Job is saying I can see now Wakili is coming back to the real hard politics.
And I don't want to go that way.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the analyst.
You don't want to be the analyst. I will read a few more. Jagero, you know Mundalo is telling the truth. Sifuna should accept that Linda Ground has won this matter. As supporters of Sifuna, we now want them to register a party so that we can move forward.
Absolutely.
Okay. Ali is saying, don't tell us you're a lawyer. Show us clearly the clause. Article of the relevant party constitution provides for any party member to call for an NDC. I am a lawyer. It's not enough.
But I've said it. You know what? You know one thing about me. One thing about me. Whenever I talk about law issues, I will never fail to mention a section. Because that is the only point of reference that you'll have. Okay. When I say this and this happened, I said it was about Article 17. In fact, I said even sub-Article 3. Yeah. Go and check out the Constitution.
Preston is saying Kenyans don't just want powerful slogans. We want direction, unity of purpose, and a clear plan forward. Let the message go beyond publicity and point us towards real solutions.
That's a good
that is
one.
Mr. Preston. Mr. Somebody saying lawyers are con men.
But this is another one.
See, that includes Sifuna, Orengo, Babu, and this guy in suit.
You know why you were saying that today with Sifuna? Not Sifuna but Simiyu, we were actually going to follow up a case whereby a lawyer had stolen 1.5 million from his client.
From my client.
So this is
so even if lawyers
this party has clients or members?
No. I'm not talking about a party. I'm talking about myself.
Okay. Ochieng is saying, I am really disappointed with Sifuna. Baba left us with recently angekuwa wa kwanza kuangusha ODM. Somebody saying, what
Luo
has
villager.
Sifuna done for you to imagine him as a president?
What did the Ruto do?
Surely.
Hustler
Somebody
narrative.
saying, Maragoli history is saying, Luo's long goal is to destabilize Bantus. I don't know what is this about. I think we can. That's true.
Sounds true.
Sounds true. Okay.
There's no politics without the drama of
I see you
Luos.
guys. These comments are more than 400. I cannot read all of them. I think we are going to finish now.
Yeah.
We need to finish.
I think
We need to finish.
people of the internet, thank you very much. Today we had more than 1,000 people watching us live, which is a big number. A lot of people were saying that we are really squabbling, and he's telling Joachim, you look bored. If you don't like this topic, leave.
I've never been this bored.
All right, people of the internet, thank you very much for joining us today. If you are watching and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to Political Headache. Hit on that notification bell so that when we have something like this and great minds coming together to discuss issues of the country, you'll be the first person to be notified. All right, we are on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and everywhere else you get your social media dose. Thank you, Mr. Mundalo, for coming today. The people of the internet really love you. They love the TikTok lawyer and they love the SG. And everybody else is happy today because
And let that one slide.
there is a guy at the Ministry of Health that is calling you TikTok lawyer. People of the internet, thank you very much. And until another episode, bye for now.
Thank you.